Hi everybody, this is Michael Hildebrand and I'm your host on the Sleeptrust podcast, where I'm talking about how to gain back trust in your ability to have a superb sleep again.
In this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, we are going to let 5 a.m. bring us our sleep back. And what we're really going to do is that we're going to jump into 2021. And last week we talked about the goal card and the importance of writing down our goal, planning our goal. And if you didn't listen to that episode, please definitely go back, listen to that, and create your goal card. What we're going to do today is powerful on its own, but the real power gets unleashed when we use it together with the goal card. So if you are, especially if you're having really bad sleep at the moment, and you feel stuck, you feel frustrated, you tried a lot, you're confused, you don't know where to get started, nothing seems to work, then this one is going to give you a new perspective. It's going to get you moving towards sleep. So we're really going to improve our sleep here by doing something that might not sound as if it will help you sleep. But let me introduce you to the 5 a.m. Club. I think that's a book from Robin Sharma, who really brought the topic into a book, a popular book, a best-selling book. But he's obviously not the first one who did that. The 5 a.m. Club, like people like the Dalai Lama and others, get up early, tap into their morning rituals. And we're going to use exactly this power to get our sleep back. So essentially, we're doing this for two reasons. The first reason is we're going to have a little bit more time in the morning that we're going to use to do things that are going to improve our odds to get good sleep. And one thing is to read our goal card. So that's the thing that I walked you through last week. And if you haven't listened or haven't got to listen to last week's episode, then I recommend that you go back and listen to that, create a goal card. And if you just didn't have the time to create your goal card yet, your sleep goal card, then do that afterwards, because it's just a powerful thing that we're going to use here. And the second thing is that we are going to create a pattern interrupt. So 95% of the things that we're doing in the morning, over the course of the day and the evening are driven unconsciously. And one way to get conscious about what we're doing, which is going to make it easier for us to change things, is to change something. And this is called a pattern interrupt. And through getting up earlier than we're used to, our state is going to be a different one. We feel different. People that might be getting up with us at the moment are not going to get up with us at the same time. So there are things changing, and we're going to change what we do in the morning too. So this is a big pattern interrupt. It's going to make it much easier for you to implement change. And it's a little bit like going from drinking a warm cup of coffee in the morning to wake yourself up, and because it tastes good and it's a cozy feeling that should energize us, to avoiding the coffee and having a cold shower, which is going to quadruple the energized feeling that you're going to have. It's going to improve your health. It has a lot of positive effects, but it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning. It's new, it's something we're not used to, and it's going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. So just to be very clear, I'm not planning to push you underneath the cold shower at 5 a.m. in the morning. That's not my intent. It's just to let us be very clear about the discomfort that goes along with this change. Getting up at 5 a.m. will feel uncomfortable. It's new. It's getting up earlier, which is hard for most of us anyway. It's going to feel uncomfortable, and we're going to do this because we know it's going to help us to interrupt our pattern. It's going to help us to implement things that are good for us. So we're going to reap the effects of the cold shower, and we know that there's a little bit of discomfort coming. But now let's get practical. What are we going to do? First off, we have to set our alarms to 5 a.m., right? That's one thing. And that's a very simple thing to do. But I want you to think about how it's going to look when you get up. And I want you to have a plan what you're going to do when you get up. Because otherwise, your alarm's going to shoot off, you're going to get up, and you're going to feel like, what now? So you want to have a plan in place, and you want to walk through that plan in your mind before you execute it. Best, take a piece of paper and a pen and write down a couple of things that you want to do. First off, I'm just going to walk you through a couple of inspirations, and you might take notes or take them, just think about that in your mind and pick up on things that you think relate to you and build your own plan. So a very good thing that you can do when you get up is to drink a glass of water. We sweat at nighttime in our beds, and to rehydrate our bodies is a good thing to do first thing in the morning. You probably want to visit the toilet. You want to move your body. That's an essential part to get, into a feeling of being awake, moving our bodies. This can be to have a walk. This can be to do yoga or gymnastic or little exercises. Don't try to max out on this in the early morning hours. It's just to get us going. And then we definitely, and that's the thing we all want to do, is to read our goal card. If we are trying to find back to superb, deep, resting, natural sleep, we want to prime our mind that this is key for us. So reading our goal card is essential. In our goal card, you've described what's important for you, why you need to find back to superb sleep. You've got your brief plan in there, and reading this every single morning will really prime your brain to what's important for you before outside demands take over control, before our unconscious just does what we do for a living. We're going to prime our brain, and odds are over time our brain is going to pick up on this, and it's going to serve us. We're all looking through filters, and we're going to set those filters new through reading those goal cards. Or you're going to set your filter through reading your goal card, better said. And I'm working with goal cards, have been working with goal cards for years. They're very powerful, not only when it comes to sleep. So when you've done that, you might want to do something for your mind, like reading the goal card is doing something for your mind, but I thought, you might want to have a meditation. You might want to write a journal. You might want to do more for your body, have a longer walk outside. You might want to use a daytime lamp. These are very bright lamps that will give your body more light than you're going to get from a usual bulb. Like they're up to 10,000 lux, which is a lot, which you typically would get outside when it's not very light yet, but sunlight is very powerful. So you might want to think about your breakfast at some point. What are you going to eat? You might want to avoid caffeine first thing in the morning. Maybe save up your cup of coffee for something like 10 a.m., around 10 a.m. when you get your first energy dip. And you could avoid a coffee by having a cold shower. But again, I don't want to push you underneath that cold shower. But I can assure you, if you have a cold shower, it's going to wake you up far more than a cup of coffee ever could do. You might want to listen to music, take time for yourself. You might want to plan your day. Not only the things that you have to get done work-wise, or because you have to do them for somebody else, but also plan things that are important for your overall well-being. Like plan one relationship that you can nurture, have a phone call, meet a friend, whatever. Plan one thing for your well-being. What are you going to do that's going to serve your well-being? You might want to have a bath at some point in the day, a warm bath. You might want to do something else. Do something that's fun. Have one fun task. Doing something that's fun for you can be something like, reading a book, It could be something like, I don't know, going to coffee, going to a bar, or whatever. You pick one thing that is fun for you. And that way you're going to be more aligned with your day. Your day is going to be more aligned with what you really need to live a fulfilled day. Because a good night of sleep is the result of a well-spent day. And waking up at 5 a.m. puts you into the pole position of aligning yourself with what you really need. And then you will feel how days start to move into your direction, serving your what you need for your well-being much better than ever before. In the afternoon, there are two things that you want to avoid. The first thing is that you should avoid having naps. You might be tired, you got up earlier, don't have a nap. If you need to, just close your eyes, do a breathing exercise for a couple of minutes, and that's it. And the second thing is that you should definitely avoid drinking caffeine after 3 p.m. because caffeine has a 6-hour half-life time, meaning that even if you have your last cup at 3 p.m., 6 hours later at 9 p.m., you've still got half of that caffeine in your body. So best don't drink caffeine in the afternoon at all. But if you need your cup of coffee, try to drink it before 3 p.m. In the evening or at nighttime, simply go to bed when you're tired. Try to avoid the distraction of watching TV until that time is hit, because it's going to distract you from your body feelings. And we want to be very aware of when we're getting tired. So especially in the first days when we're shifting our bodies, our minds into this new frame. So try to avoid watching TV before you go to bed and rather listen to your body. Do things like listening to music, have a chat with your spouse or a friend, or read a book. These are great things that will let you become very aware when it's time to go to bed. And when you feel that tiredness kick in, simply go to bed. And as always, go to bed with the intention to rest rather than the intention to go to sleep. So, essentially what we did here today is to walk through all aspects of the Sleeptrust Sleep Map, which is my coaching system. It's a 9-step system, and there are 3 basic blocks that all of these steps belong to. The first 3 are the mindset, then we move into the practice where we really practice things that are good for our sleep, and then we make things habitual. But what we're doing here today is that we're walking through all of these aspects. So this podcast episode, if you bring that to life, will be very powerful because it contains elements of nearly every single step out of the coaching. But to wrap it up, to make it very simple for you to execute on this, how should you get started? Because I shared a lot of things that you can do, and I want to get it very clear how you can get started. The first is you want to plan your morning. Before you set your alarm to 5 a.m., you want to have a plan of what you want to do. When you've got that plan, like you know that first thing you're going to get that glass of water, second thing, really put in the details. You want to have a program in place. Then you want to visualize your new morning ritual. So you're going to take that plan and then you're going to walk through how it's going to look, how it's going to feel really doing this. And that way, the first thing that you're going to benefit from this is that you already did your morning routine once, which is great because our mind doesn't differentiate that much between things that we only imagine to do and things that we actually really perform. And the second is that you will find flaws in your plan. If you have something that doesn't feel good for you, change it. Before you do it, if you visualize that and you emotionalize that plan and something doesn't feel right, change it right away. And that's going to make it so much easier to perform that action. And step number 3 is to definitely to think about reading your goal card in the first half hour of that morning plan of yours. And you also want to do it before you go to bed. So that's those 3 steps. Plan your morning, visualize the new ritual and fine-tune it if necessary, and make sure that you read your goal card every single morning and that's part of your plan. There are a lot of books out there that will help you to get inspired about healthy morning rituals. A book that I've found to be very good, probably I'm sharing this with you because I got inspired to do the cold showers through this book, is from a guy called, I think, Aubrey Marcus. Own the Day, Own Your Life. That's definitely how the book is called. Own the Day, Own Your Life. And when it comes to habits, which is an essential part of change, so we want to change things for the better. Things are not working in our favor if our sleep is bad at the moment, and we need to change things to get into the flow of reaping good sleep at the end of the day. Then Atomic Habits is a great book that will give you little tips on how to make change much easier. As always, it's your choice. If you want to move on and say, okay, there are a lot of other things that I want to try first, or if you take this little blueprint and use it as an inspiration to plan your morning, to get up early, to take the first 1 to 2 hours of the day for yourself, to get in line with the day, to imprint your brain with new ideas, and to execute on the day afterwards in your favor, meaning that you're doing things that are really aligned with what you're all about and not all about your outside demands, so to say. And with that, let's wrap up this week's episode of the Sleep Trust podcast. Getting up at 5 a.m. will leave us with more time to plan things into our day that will serve our sleep. It will also work as a powerful pattern interrupt, making change much easier for us to implement. To do so, follow these 3 steps. First, plan your morning. Second, visualize your new morning ritual before you bring it into action and fine-tune it if necessary. And third, definitely take care that you read your goal card, your sleep goal card, as part of the first 30 minutes of your days. And that's it for this week's episode of the Sleep Trust podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself and that you tune in next week when we are going to have a look at how we can avoid drinking caffeinated drinks over the course of the day to improve our sleep quality. Until then, have a superb sleep.
Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Sleep Trust podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to get further information on this podcast or material that will help you to gain back your sleep trust, please check out sleeptrust.eu. That's sleeptrust.eu, where you will get lots of information around sleep. And here comes some legal stuff. Everything on this podcast is my opinion only, so do not take it as an advice, as I am not a doctor, nor have I considered your personal situation. If you feel that you need medical advice, please consider getting an appointment at your doctor of trust. If you want to give me any kind of feedback on this podcast, feel free to email me at podcast@sleeptrust.eu. I hope you tune in again next week, and until then, have a good sleep.